So this poem is called Man-Made, and it came out of thinking a lot about my own name. And what brought that on was that, a lot of my women friends were getting married and thinking about whether or not they should change their last name, and that got me to thinking about my own and what it means to me. What does your father do? He's no more. Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh, no, don't be. I never knew him. He died when I was a baby. But still, it must be hard. Yes, it is. It's hard because I can't shake off the shadow of this stranger who keeps following me around. It's because of him that I run out of space whenever I fill out my name on a form. Kokila Annamalai. A-N-N-A-M-A-L-A-I. That's too many letters to box my identity into, and so I spill out, and rise across the paper in squeezed, squiggly handwriting that refuses to conform. Annamalai. I wear it like a shoe one size too small, like a sari that doesn't suit my skin color, like an itchy sweater or a sundress in winter. It reminds me of my mother and my sister, of embarrassing roll call as teachers stuttered and stammered over the syllables, of a Tamil movie I once watched as a child, of a bearded man and a formless deity. Annamalai. I say it with a certain discomfort, because it reveals a caste allegiance I actively reject, and a cultural history I don't feel entitled to. It reminds me of my father's village, of a boy I once had a crush on, of the way my father died and how much my mother cried. It reminds me of who I am and who I am struggling not to be. But I am not alone in this identity crisis, in this predicament. We all bear the name of men. Men we may not know. Men who may be our abusers. Men we don't love. Men who have nothing to do with our achievements, nothing to do with the color of our souls. They are our ancestors, our fathers, grandfathers, stepfathers, husbands and sons. They are male gods. Made gods. Is this what it means to be man-made? So clever, just like your father, they say. My father was a scientist. My mother is a teacher. He contributed some blueprints. She built the whole damn building. She held me, hugged me, taught me how to read, fed me, clothed me, rocked me to sleep. I shared her womb for 9 months and her warmth for 25 years, but for some reason, I shared the stranger's name. Sometimes, she says, I remind her of him. The curve of my cheekbone, the way I smile, my gastritis, my depression, my existential confusions, they make her think of him. I think of him too. When my mother isn't offered flowers, when she was asked to watch my sister's marriage from a distance, when her colleagues call her Mrs. Anna, short for Annamalai, when she's left out at social gatherings that have couples games and children's games, then I think of him. I think of how in his absence, he has become so present. Of how we can't undo him from our lives, though he was never really a part of them. Of how we've been told repeatedly that we are deprived, incomplete, dysfunctional, pitiful without him. Of how society does not let men die. Thank you. I've been, over the last year, I'd just like to tell you a bit about the We Can campaign. Over the last year, I've been working on this campaign at Aware to end violence against women. And at the beginning, I thought it was just, part of my job. But really, over the last 12 months, it has changed and transformed me in so many ways. Many of us, and including me, before I got involved in this work, thought that violence isn't as much of an issue in Singapore as it is in many other countries. But I've learned in a very humbling and moving manner that violence takes many forms and is very real still in many people's lives. And so many of the girls that I work with tell me that they're bullied in schools for the way they look. The thing that's commented on about them most is still their appearance. And so many boys still think that it's okay to take a girl's no as yes. And so many people don't understand what consent is or what psychological violence is and the damage that it can do to victims. And so what the We Can campaign is about is it's trying to get as many people as possible in Singapore to take a pledge of non-violence, to embrace a violence-free life and actively encourage other people in their lives to do the same. So if you'd like to find out more and take the pledge, you can do so at the booth here today. Thank you very much.